Hello, everyone, and welcome to Birth Your Vision podcast. And so, on today's episode, my wonderful guest, Jennifer Evans, she will be joining me on the show, and she's going to be talking about how to create a successful business without overwhelm and burnout. And so I'm so excited. But just before we welcome Jennifer to talk to us about this amazing topic today, let me just tell you a little bit about Jennifer. So Jennifer Evans, aka ZenJen, she is an expert at freeing women from overwhelm, feeling frazzled and worn out. She shows her clients how to consistently, right, quiet the monkey mind and negative self-taught, creating calm, balance, clarity, and confidence. Jennifer is the founder of ZenJen and best-selling author. She has been working with clients' well-being for over 15 years. And, she has the honor to be able to see a client transform as they become fearless and audacious. So she's also inspired them and also very much give them the opportunity to be energized, living a life fulfilled, financially, successfully, and happy. And so I'm so excited to welcome Jennifer today. So welcome, Jennifer. Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I'm really excited to be talking about this topic and sharing some really helpful tools and strategies for the listeners.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. So good to see you. So let's just dive right in. Your story is a story that is very powerful. I know that you've been through some challenges in life, in terms of you getting to the level that you're in at this moment. Could you just share with us briefly about your journey?
Yes, yes, of course. Um, so my looking after people or wanting to help people started when I was really young, and I used to actually help my mum's migraines through touch and healing. So I thought that was a normal thing, and it wasn't until I was older in my teens that I started to get teased a lot.
Right.
So I squashed that down because I wanted to belong. I wanted to feel normal.
Yeah.
I just want to be ridiculed and called a weirdo. So I squashed that down and I went into a normal life into the corporate world. I was in the corporate world for 15 years,
Wow.
uh, and I came to the point where I was just no longer fulfilled. It was meaningless, or it wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't bringing me joy.
Yes.
I was worn out, fed up, fed up of the unequal pay. Um, compared to my male counterparts.
Right.
So I decided to come back to helping others, and I started back into a holistic practice with
Mm.
reflexology and massage and Reiki, and that automatically started to unfold and evolve into coaching.
Yes.
And as you said, I've had many challenges. My people that know me, my those that are closest to me, have described me as a freedom seeker,
I
bit of a
like that.
rebel, yeah, bit of a rebel,
Yeah.
um, lover of life and adventurer, and I'm an activator of possibility. So
Ooh.
I've travelled all through. I've worked throughout Europe. I've lived in Canada for 10 years, and I now live in Italy,
Yeah.
living my dream life, a life I love.
Mm.
Um, things haven't been easy, as you said, lots of challenges.
Yes.
And 8, 9 years ago, I left Canada with 2 suitcases, £2,000 in my pocket, 2 divorces, and my dog. So I started from scratch again, building up my business. And yeah, it was a tough road.
Yeah.
I always been very positive, but it's a struggle when you're trying to do everything by yourself.
Yes.
Um, and think, I've invested a huge amount of time, effort, and money into my journey, both my
Yes.
personal journey and my journey for my business, so that I
Mm.
can be of best service, the best contribution I can be. So that's where I am today. running
Fantastic. Awesome.
you know, running a
So,
business I love.
yeah, absolutely. So I heard you talk about divorce, after two divorces. How
Mm.
was you able to actually bounce back? Because that must have had a knock-on effect on your life, an impact somehow on your well-being and your mental health. And so how was you able to actually bounce back?
I think I took a long look at myself,
Yes.
because I was really fed up with the repeating patterns. Um,
Mm,
and after, I looked at what could have been done better in those
yeah.
marriages, how I could have been better.
Mm,
And I realized actually a lot, there's a lot of things that I could change for myself.
right.
I could get ready to meet the person, that would be the right man for me, my perfect match. Um, so that, I went on the journey of self-discovery
Yes.
and personal mastery, and
Hmm.
let go of so much, so that I could just, I came to a point where not much phased me. um, I stopped taking things personally. That
Right.
was a huge step, not taking
Hmm.
things personally, realizing that a lot of what was going on wasn't about me,
Yes.
um, and actually filling myself with self-worth and self-love.
Mm,
My self-esteem, hit rock bottom.
I can
So
imagine.
I did a lot of, I call it work, and
Yeah.
yes, some of it was very challenging,
Hmm.
but every single moment of that was worth it. And I now, I have so much love for myself and
Yes.
self-worth that it doesn't block me anymore. It doesn't stop me from stepping out of my comfort zones,
Yes.
because I deserve, we all deserve, we're all worthy, we're all deserving.
Mm,
So that was a big step up for me, realizing my self-worth.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I think self-care, self-love, those things are very important,
Hmm.
especially for women. Sometimes we're so hard on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And it's just about giving ourselves grace and the opportunity to be able to kind of step out of our circumstances, because sometimes our circumstances has a lot of impact on our thinking, on our mindset.
Yeah.
And with you being a transformational coach, tell us a bit more about your role as a transformational coach. What do you do?
So it goes when I'm coaching, I'm, it's I respect the person's journey because it is their
Yes.
journey.
Hmm.
So I coach, but I also teach, for those that are willing and open. And the things that the tools that I give, they shift you on a cellular level. So
Yeah.
it's not all just about being mindful of your thoughts. Being mindful is a big part of it,
Hmm.
but it's going beyond that, going into the body and making energetic shifts. So
Yes.
my clients actually, they actually feel the shift in their body, and it's like this, you literally, you can see it and they feel it. It's like this weight has been lifted off their shoulders,
Yeah.
and they become, their eyes become, they become more, their eyes are brighter, they're like, and they almost, it's like that. It's
Yeah.
such a wonderful thing to see. So there's
Absolutely.
lots of those little shifts that happen on that cellular level. So
Mm.
it's not all just, and there's mindfulness as well, but it's
Yeah.
the powerful stuff, the transformative stuff is
Yes.
is the energetic shifts within their body.
Mm, absolutely. I think sometimes we need to think with the hand in mind. That gives us that optimism in terms of looking forward to the transformation and the outcome of that. As a client,
Mm,
it's important for us to think of where would we be, what does it look like to finish, at the end, and for us to kind of look at what it would look like when we get to the finishing part, when we've actually received the transformation, and like you've just described it, that feeling of happiness, of joy, I've overcome something, or I've achieved
mm.
something, which is really important. So, tell us a little bit more about, overwhelm and burnout. So, for example, those who are just starting their business, sometimes they do carry quite a lot of weight. And those weights, is in different forms. It could be not having enough clarity, not even sure about what they're doing. And so that could actually kind of be the beginning of them kind of carrying so much weight, and that overwhelms them
Yeah.
and brings in burnout really from the get-go before they even kickstart their business. So what kind of impact can a business have, can overwhelmingness have on a business, especially new startups?
Well, it keeps us very stuck because
Yeah.
we become very overwhelmed with all the things. We have an idea, and then the self-doubt creeps in, um,
Yes.
and there's a huge amount of judgment around ourselves which stop us. So when
Mm.
we feel out overwhelmed, we it keeps us stuck. It creates brain fog, so we can't think clearly.
Yeah.
As you said, Hannah, we there's not much clarity necessary. When we don't have clarity, we don't know what direction to go in.
Yeah.
Mm. So, and we become tired, so then we don't have the energy to do it. And a lot
Mm.
of people will give up before they've started because it's all too much. So
Yes.
taking control of the feeling overwhelmed is really key to creating a successful, effortless business, because we can push and push and push, which creates more overwhelm. But when we're pushing, we're not giving ourselves, as you said earlier, grace. We're not giving ourselves enough space.
Mm.
Um, so all that pushing is exhausting, and we become more
Yes.
overwhelmed. So yeah, at the very worst, we give up. At the very best, we struggle on, and it affects our families and our
Yeah.
relationships, and it affects our personal well-being. And of course, the success of our business is, if you can't show up in your business switched on and energized and focused, then you're not going to create a successful business.
Yes, absolutely. So, give us one or two tips for us to be able to kind of overcome the overwhelmingness, especially for first time business owners.
It's really important, really, really important
Yeah.
to, as you said earlier, self-care. And
Mm.
self-care, I don't mean having a day at the spa. I
Right.
mean, that's great and awesome if you can do it, but you can do self-care in 5 or 10 minutes. And self-care is something that just helps you ground yourself,
Mm.
lift yourself.
Yes.
So anything, going outside and taking some fresh air, um, and actually scheduling in some self-care into your day every single
Mm.
day. And it also, that's just one thing that is, but it's key when we look after our, how we feel, when we look after our alignment, so
Yeah.
feeling good and keeping ourselves uplifted and raising our vibration, we will create energy
Yeah.
and inspiration and motivation. So self-care is really key to, and something that I do that's a really, something that I do that's, I've started to do every couple of years, about 18 months, a couple of years ago, that's really impacted my energy levels, is I do reset breaks.
I like that. Tell us a
So
little bit more about it.
yeah, so a reset is, or a refresh break, if you want to call it refresh. I quite like the word
Mm.
refresh break. If you start to, if you're, say for example, we're doing this podcast now. So
Yes.
before, if I had something on after this, before I'd start my next project or my next call, my next meeting, whatever it might be, I would
Yeah.
just go and refresh or reset. So I'd go walk away from my computer,
Yeah.
go outside if I can, make myself a drink, and just breathe, slow down, breathe deeply, and it helps just take that break between one project to the next. The other thing that you can do when your body starts aching, when you start getting a bit stiff and your
Yeah.
shoulders are aching or your back or you're getting a headache, That's your body letting you know it's time to take a break.
A break.
So really listen to what your body's telling you. And
Yes.
even when your computer starts to mess about, it starts slowing down.
Yes.
Instead of standing there getting or sitting there getting frustrated,
Mm.
walk away, have a break. And you will come back much more refreshed and energized and ready to take the next step of your day.
Yes, absolutely. And also, something that I do is I actually take a nap. Yes, I take a nap because sometimes when I sleep, I'm able to now feel kind of refreshed and energized when I wake up. And so my head is full of ideas. So I just need to get that sleep in just to give myself that little break. So it's very important, like you said, self care is not just about you getting your nails done or going to the spa. Self care can just be you stepping out of, that environment, that space, and giving yourself the time to
Mhm.
focus, to rethink about something that you want to actually achieve, which is very important.
Yeah.
And so, that brings me to, tell us about, the common causes of overwhelm, especially for women in business. As you know, women, we sometimes struggle to kind of balance because we
Mhm.
wear so many hats. We're mothers, we're wives, we help our children with their homework. There's always something to do. We're helping a family member. So, as a woman, what are the common causes, of overwhelm for women in business?
Well, one of them, as you said, is doing way too much
Yeah,
and not asking for help or having the feeling that you have to get everything done.
yeah,
So we don't always prioritize and look at, well, does that really matter? Do I have to get that done today? Is there somebody else that can help me? Or does it
right,
need or does it need doing at all?
exactly.
Something as silly as ironing. I have a lot of clients that iron everything. And I'm like, why? They're like, I can't not iron something. And I'm like, just try it. Just try reducing your ironing. And it just, I know it sounds really silly, but it's like, oh my God, I'm not iron this. And you can't tell. And
Yeah,
it's
it's a habit.
it is a habit,
Yeah,
exactly. Um, but so some of the things, yes, we do way too much. We put too many expectations on ourselves, and we
absolutely.
also have expectations from our families and our loved ones,
Mm,
as well as society and culture. So
yes.
we feel we create these identities based on the expectations from
Mm,
society and culture and loved ones. So
yes.
um, if we don't have boundaries, we become worn out. Some of the other causes are second guessing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
never whatever you're doing, it's never enough. We're
Yeah.
very good at that, and never not feeling good enough. Not having a plan. So I'm very much, as I said, I'm a freedom seeker, so I don't like too many constraints, but I have to have a loose plan for
Yeah.
my, I have a vision, I have a very, very clear vision, but if I don't have a plan, then I don't get the things done that I want, not should get done, but I want
Mm,
to get done that
yeah.
will that will have an impact on my business. So it's, not planning, being creates being, we get very scattered and
Yes.
distracted. Other things that create overwhelm, oh, of course, perfection. We're
Oh,
always, we want to get it right. We want to be perfect.
yeah.
We can't do anything. I can't do this because I'm not perfect. My script's not perfect, or I haven't thought about this. I haven't prepped it. How many times do you need to do a video before you post it? Just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, just do it. Also comparing ourselves with others. We
Yes.
that's a big one of
Mm-hmm.
causes of overwhelm. As we said before, judgment,
Yes.
self doubt. Uh, then and yeah, just putting way too much on our plates, over committing to everybody,
Mm,
and not taking the time out for ourselves, not giving ourselves the space and the grace, as you said, um, and we also put a lot of personal pressure on ourselves.
Absolutely, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do, we have, and that's, we do that, and the underlying cause of all of that, of seeking approval, looking for validation, trying to be
Mm,
perfect, trying to manage everyone and everything, not
yeah.
feeling like we've done enough, all
Mm-hmm.
comes down to us not being good enough and not feeling worthy enough, which is
Indeed.
historical, which, you know,
Yeah.
being a woman, it's historical. You know, we still aren't paid equally with men in the in the
Mm,
private sector, and
yes.
we got the vote just over, you know, just over 100 years ago. We had to, our husbands were the one that kept the purse strings, and we had to ask our husbands to do, can we do this, can we do that,
Right.
and then if we go further back, we were burnt as witches, you know, and so there's that, that we've carried all of that with us,
Mm,
and we're moving through that now. We're changing it, and it's like this new level of femininity, and
yeah.
it's not about being a feminist, but it's like, I'm taking back my power.
Yeah.
I I want to feel empowered. I want to make my own decisions, and that's why so many women, I think,
Mm,
are looking to create their own business so that they can have their own, set their own schedules, be their own boss, you know, earn the money that they're worth.
yes.
Mm.
Absolutely. I love what you said about, women now stepping up and becoming their own bosses,
Hmm.
becoming their own business leaders, which is truly amazing. You've really touched on the historical parts of it. You've touched on, the habits, things that we do as women. And so it's really about us really kind of making a change and looking for those areas that we can actually make improvements on. Now, you've mentioned quite a lot of things, people, women thinking that they're not enough, they want to be perfect, but sometimes you don't have to be perfect. You just have to start where you are, and so it's about striking a balance once and for all, and basically looking at how you can actually schedule your time properly on your calendar, and also trying to do what you can and then outsource certain things if you know that you can't really do that as well, and also not to really take everything too personally, like you said
Hmm.
before.
Yeah.
And set goals and celebrate your achievements, because sometimes we may feel like we haven't really achieved a lot as women. But to
Yeah.
be quite honest, if I was to kind of ask maybe 5 women to make a list of what they've actually achieved within a period of a year, you will see that the whole notepad will be filled with lots of great accomplishment. And I feel like sometimes women do not achieve, do not celebrate themselves enough. And to be quite honest, you can only be your number one leader, your number one cheerleader. And if you don't cheer yourself on, you shouldn't really expect other people to cheer you on. So it's important that women should step up and to be more confident and really believe in themselves that they are enough, which is truly amazing. So thank you so much for really covering that in a great way. And I wanted to look at, some of the signs, what are the signs that we can actually recognize? How do we recognize these signs of overwhelm and burnout? And how can we actually deal with it as we see it coming?
Overwhelm's a sneaky thing,
Yeah.
isn't it? I mean, it sneaks up on you, and before you know it, you're exhausted and drained.
Yes.
So some of the signs, um, I find, starting to get a little bit irritated with
Mm.
our loved ones is usually a good sign that we're starting to feel a bit edgy and a bit
Yeah.
overwhelmed. So yeah, if we're a bit snappy with our partners or our children or our
Hmm.
siblings, that's a good sign. Feeling tired,
Yeah.
that's quite, feeling tired. It's not just, and the fact that you're not maybe sleeping very well because you're not able to relax your brain.
That's right.
So disturbed sleep patterns is a good sign. Being a bit moody, so not just irritable, but in general moody. Um, Getting upset, so we getting a bit emotional, and yes, of course, as women, there are hormones involved in that.
Yeah.
So when we are hormonal, um, it's even more important to notice those signs,
Mm.
be aware, and do some things about it, which we'll talk about in a minute. Um, the other things are, yeah, so moody, upset, irritable, quick
Yes.
to anger as well, frustrated. That's a big one. You know, if your laptop gets a bit slow, instead of going, oh, okay, I'm going to walk away, we
Mm.
get angry with it, we get frustrated. Um, we take even more, we take more things personally.
Yes.
And so it's about being aware of how you feel it emotionally,
Yeah.
and how you're reacting to people or situations. So if you and how much energy you have in your body. And the other good sign is having headaches
Right.
or some kind of discomfort in the body on a,
Mm-hmm.
on a more consistent basis, because as I said before, the body will tell you what you need to know. So if you are feeling out of sorts, overwhelmed, your body will let you know, whether that settles in your stomach, in your lower
Yes.
back, your head, tension in your neck and shoulders because you're carrying. It's being aware of your body and listening to that,
Mm.
and noticing those little telltale signs of moods, irritability, frustration,
Yes.
and
Definitely.
you become serious.
Mm.
I think with, especially as women, we've got so much to look. We are the nurturers. We tend to, we're nurturing. We tend to be nurturing. So we're taking care of a lot of things, and we forget to play, and we
Yes.
become serious, and we forget how to laugh and have fun sometimes.
Definitely. I mean, is it possible to actually recover from burnout? Because sometimes burnout doesn't really go away on its own, but rather sometimes it gets worse unless you actually address the underlying issue that's actually causing it. And so, if we now decide to ignore it, it can actually cause further harm during, our business, along the line somewhere. So, is it possible to actually recover from it?
Yes, yes, it is. Just so some of the things when you start to notice you're irritable
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. So nipping it in the bud, as it were. Um,
Mm.
Deep breathing is really key. So using the diaphragm, if anyone's done any yoga or any singing,
Yeah.
you breathe through your diaphragm, and you mass as you're breathing in and breathing out. You
Yeah.
breathe out like a beach ball and breathe back in and suck the belly back. So you're massaging your adrenals, slowing down adrenaline and producing endorphins. So that's uplifting and energizing. So that
Right.
is the easiest, freest thing you can ever do, is breathe properly. And taking a break, going for a walk in nature, is my always my go-to. Just if there's a park that you can, park that you can walk to, wherever there's green, wherever there's trees. It's a Green is a healing color, so it's
Yes.
no coincidence that all the trees and plants are green.
Mm.
So yeah, breathing and taking a step away, slowing right down. So in terms of coming back from feeling burnt out, when
Yeah.
you are really burnt out, you have to slow right down and reduce the amount of things that you're doing, whether that's in the home or in the business, and really look at what's important, what really matters, and what is it the minimum that I can do right now, depending on how burnt out you are, because some
Yeah.
people need to step away for 3 to 6 months,
Right.
you know and because if you keep ignoring that, you will become, there's potential for a huge amount of anxiety, depression, and disease, illness.
Mm.
So your body will keep knocking you back and letting you know
Yeah.
and stopping you until you listen. So you might need to step away, but certainly if you are starting to feel burnt out, you need to take longer breaks. You need to do less. And the biggest thing, don't do something like yoga or something that's not high impact, because that's adrenaline related. You need to be slowing down your adrenals, because your
Mm,
adrenals are on overload. Your stress, you're in flight or fight. So you need to really get yourself back into that equilibrium of the body. Um, do things that you really enjoy. Find hobbies that you enjoy.
yeah.
Something, if we're all creative in our own way, and that could be through painting, writing, figuring out puzzles. It could be fashion, it could be baking or cooking, gardening, photography. So, there's so many creative things that we can do. So
Mm,
when we're more in our creative zone, which is on our right side of our brain, it, it and it energizes us. Creativity will always energize us, because
yes.
it's more expansive, and it feels you're doing something you love. When you do something you love, you feel energized, but it's hard to get there from feeling burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is to really self-care, in terms of gentle walks, out in nature, deep
Yes.
breathing, music. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can see, my partner's a musician and a music producer, so we have
That's
music
amazing.
all the time, and
Yeah.
music is such a massive uplifting um, tool to use. So there is definitely, and ask for help.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't do this by yourself.
Indeed.
Sometimes you need someone, you need an expert, somebody that you can go to that can help guide you through that difficulty and that challenging time, to get you back to you, and bring you back to your heart.
For sure. Thank you so much. That's really amazing. So, take us through your program and what you actually offer.
Okay. So I offer a very personalized coaching program. So it's completely based on your needs. Um, and depending on how long you need, usually 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
Uh, and we go through all the different steps of what you want to change, what you want to transform, whether that's around your business or your personal life. Um, I also incorporate, or can add, a really beautiful optional exclusive solo retreat in Italy
Ooh.
when we can travel.
Yeah. Yeah. When.
You get time with me face to face in Italy, and it is the perfect place to reset, restore, and refresh your soul.
I
Um,
love that.
yeah, so in the coaching program, we really get to what matters to you, what lights you up, and bring you back, as I said, to bring you back to who you really are, beyond
Yes.
the social, beyond all the societal expectations. Come back to your truth, and help you find, because a lot of women don't even know what brings them joy anymore, because they're
Yes.
so wrapped up in their families and all the things they've got to do. They've forgotten what brings them joy. So the kind
Mm.
of the personal, it's a journey of discovery, what really lights you up and makes your heart and soul sing. And then how do you do that? How do you get there? From down, from feeling and exhausted and tired, how do you get to this up here, where
Yeah.
you can be the best contribution to your loved ones, but love every minute of it,
Mm.
um, relish it, and feel fulfilled, and create success and happiness.
Fantastic. That sounds like an amazing program. And so, how can people get in touch with you? How can they reach you?
They can reach me via my LinkedIn link that's in the podcast.
Yes.
They can also reach me. I highly recommend going onto my website and looking at more detail. There's a newsletter there that you can sign up for, with lots of regular tools and tips and the latest updates as to what I'm up to. And you can, on my website, you can WhatsApp me from there, you can email me from there. So yes, you can, and I'm happy to chat to anyone on the phone. You can book an appointment with me as well, but you can also send me a message, and I'm
Mm.
happy to arrange a discovery call to see where you are, where you want to be, and if I'm the person to help you. And if I'm
Fantastic.
if I'm not the person to help you, then guide you to where maybe where it is that you what your next steps would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's such an amazing pleasure to have you on the show. I'm so excited that you've been able to cover some great strategies and tips to help us to kind of overcome overwhelm and burnout, especially for those who are starting business and those who are already in
Hmm.
business as well. And also for sharing your amazing coaching program with many of our audiences and our listeners. So, all your information and your details will be definitely put in the comment bar below. So thank you so much. Any last words of encouragement as we wrap up?
Just if you have a vision or if you have an idea of a vision,
Yeah,
anything is possible. When
absolutely.
your mind, your thoughts, and your heart and your actions match and are in alignment, you are unstoppable. And I can do it, so why not you?
Yes, I love that. You know what? You've actually taken us to a great place as we wrap up. So thank you so much, Jennifer. A great pleasure to have you. And so to all our amazing listeners, thank you so much for your support. Join me next week on another amazing and exciting program as we welcome another guest again. So thank you so much for watching us tonight. Thank you, Jennifer, for being on the show. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening. Stay blessed. Bye for now.
Bye bye. Thank you, Anna. Bye.
You're welcome.